and you had to have surgery, and they needed blood, or an individual needed a blood transfusion. Have you ever wondered who was behind it? How did it all happen? Who made it possible? Tyrone Bowman live. On this edition of Black Profiles, I'll be talking about this man right here, Dr. Charles R. Drew. Yes, he was the inventor of blood plasma, scientist, a surgeon, and medical researcher. So let's talk about him, and let's give credit to whom credit is due. In today's world, they don't really talk about him. Why? Because he has been eradicated and erased from history, and if he is included in the medical journals, it's just a by note. And they'll try to say, well, others came before him. Well, I'm going to set the record straight. He was the one who started it all. So who was Dr. Charles R. Drew? Charles Richard Drew was born July 13, 1904, and he died April 1st, 1950. He was an American surgeon and medical researcher, and I'm going to put it this way. He was an African American surgeon and an African American medical researcher. He researched in the field of blood transfusions, developing improved techniques for blood storage, and applied his expert knowledge to developing large-scale blood banks early in World War II. You know about blood banks. People have gone to blood banks and they've sold their blood for money. This allowed medics to save thousands of Allied forces' lives during the war. As the most prominent African American in the field, Dr. Drew protested against the practice of racial segregation in the donation of blood, as it lacked scientific foundation, and resigned his position with the American Red Cross, which maintained the policy until 1950. Always know your history. I don't care what anyone tells you. So I'll be talking about Dr. Drew's early life and education and the Blood for Britain, whatever that means, American Red Cross Blood Bank, his academic achievements, along with his personal life, his death, and his legacy. So let's get this party started, as I always like to say. Dr. Drew was born in 1904 into an African-American middle-class family in Washington, D.C. His father, Richard, was a carpet layer, and his mother, Nora Burrell. She was trained as a teacher. Dr. Drew and two sisters, one brother of his four younger siblings, three sisters and one brother in total. He grew up in Washington's largely middle-class and interracial Foggy Bottom neighborhood. From a young age, Dr. Drew began work as a newspaper boy in his neighborhood, daily helping deliver over 1,000 newspapers to his neighbors. That was back in the day, y'all. Drew attended Washington's Dunbar High School, which was well known for its equality and opportunities for all despite the racial climate at the time. From 1920 until his marriage in 1938, Dr. Drew's permanent address was in Arlington County, Virginia. After he graduated from Washington's Dunbar High School in 1922 and resided elsewhere during that period of time, Drew won an athletic scholarship to Amherst College in Massachusetts, where he played on the football team as well as the track and field, and later graduated in 1926. He probably had an athletic scholarship, where he developed his athletic prowesses. After graduating from college, Drew spent 2 years from 1926 to 1928 as a professor of chemistry and biology, the first athletic director and football coach at the historically black private Morgan College in Baltimore, Maryland, a HBCU, might I add, to earn the money to pay for medical school. For his medical career, Drew applied to Howard University, Harvard Medical School, and later McGill University. Drew lacked some prerequisites for Howard University, and Harvard deferred to him a year later. So, to begin medical school properly, Drew decided to attend McGill's medical school in Montreal, Canada. Why is Canada important? Because Canada had something that America never had. Well, no, they had something that America had. Canada never had racism and segregation. It was during this stage in his medical journey that Drew worked with John Beatty, who was conducting research regarding the potential correlations between blood transfusions and shock therapy. Shock occurs as the amount of blood in the body rapidly declines, which can be due to a variety of factors such as a wound or lack of fluids, dehydration. As the body goes into shock, both blood pressure and body temperature decrease, which then causes a lack of blood flow and a loss of oxygen in the body's tissues and cells. Eventually, it became clear that transfusions were the solution to treating victims of shock. But at the time, there was no successful method of transportation or mass storage of blood, leaving transfusions to be extremely limited to location. At McGill, Drew achieved membership in Alpha Omega Alpha, a scholastic honor society for medical students, ranked second in his graduating class of 127 students, and received the standard Doctor of Medicine and Master of Surgery degree awarded by the McGill University Faculty of Medicine in 1933. Hot sickety. A young black man who was ranked in the graduating class of, he was ranked second in the graduating class of 127 students, and he walked away with the Doctor of Medicine and Master of Surgery. And degree was awarded by the McGill University of Medicine in 1933. Don't let anybody ever tell you that we can't read and write and learn and understand and perceive the English language and perfect it. This is one of the main reasons why I encourage people: do your own research, do your own study, do your own emphatic way of learning. Don't let these institutions tell you that you don't matter. You do matter, whether people say so or not. We all matter. You understand, beloved? I said we all matter. Pardon me. I'll be right back. Let me take a short break. Had a little emergency there, ladies and gentlemen, that I had to handle. Okay, Tyrone Bowman Live. I'm talking about Dr. Charles H. Drew. So, he graduated from McGill University Faculty of Medicine in 1933. Dr. Drew's first appointment as a faculty instructor was for pathology at Howard University from 1935 to 1936. He then joined Freeman's Hospital, a federally operated facility associated with Howard University, as an instructor in surgery and an assistant surgeon. In 1938, Drew began graduate work at Columbia University in New York City on the award of a 2-year Rockefeller Fellowship in surgery. He then began postgraduate work, earning his Doctor of Science at Surgery at Columbia University. This is important about John D. Rockefeller. Let me tell you something about John D. Rockefeller. He was known during his time, before he became a philanthropist and humanitarian, as a ruthless, greedy oil entrepreneur. He was known to be ruthless in so many different ways. But in the last 30 years of his life, he became a humanitarian, a philanthropist, a devout, quote unquote, churchman, if you please, on the road to redemption. And you would be surprised how much good work Rockefeller did. This is a footnote, and if you don't believe me, you can look it up yourself. During the Great Depression of the 30s, Rockefeller employed 30,000 men, housed, fed, and clothed them. And you know what he had them to build? The Rockefeller Center that stands today as a testament to his philanthropy. And let me get back to Dr. Charles H. Drew. In 1938, Drew began a graduate work at Columbia University in New York City on the award of a 2-year Rockefeller Fellowship in surgery. He then began postgraduate work, earning his Doctor of Science at Surgery at Columbia University. He spent time doing research at Columbia's Presbyterian Hospital and wrote a doctoral thesis entitled, quote, Banked Blood, a study on blood preservation, end quote, which was based on an exhaustive study of blood preservation techniques. It was through this blood preservation research where Drew realized blood plasma was able to be preserved for 2 months. Longer through deliquidation or liquefaction, or the separation of liquid blood from the cells. When ready for use, the plasma would then be able to return to its original state via reconstitution. This thesis earned him his Doctor of Science in Medicine degree in 1940, becoming the first African American to do so. The District of Columbia chapter of the American Medical Association allowed only 2 white doctors to join consequently, and Dr. Drew died without ever being accepted for membership in the American Medical Association, or the AMA. Now, Harvard rejected him because of racism, point blank. Let's just put it out there. Harvard, for a long time before it became desegregated, was a historically segregated racist institution. And because they rejected Drew as a young man, it was to their chagrin that he went on to earn, and let me recap. Drew went on to earn, it wasn't awarded, a Doctor of Medicine, a Master of Surgery degree from McGill University Faculty of Medicine in 1933. He went on to earn, not given to him, a Doctor of Science at Surgery at Columbia University. He went and he wrote his thesis entitled Banked Blood, a study on blood preservation. Then he went on to earn, not given to him, his Doctor of Science in Medicine degree in 1940, becoming the first black man in America to do so. And you're going to tell me, to the news media, and all these MAGA extremist organizations that black people can't read, black people can't think, that black people never contributed anything to society? You must be out of your damn mind. And you're going to tell us that we're DEI? You're going to try to make us think and believe and accept that we can't read, write, think, invent? You're going to try to tell us that we haven't contributed anything to America's furtherance or prosperity? Please. You know, it's not going down like that, y'all. I'm going to start this one right here. I don't think I'm going to finish it because, as I said, I don't like to make these videos much longer than 20 minutes. So in late 1940, before the U.S. entered World War II, and just after earning his doctorate, Dr. Drew was recruited by John Scudder to help set up and administer an early prototype program for blood storage and preservation. Dr. Drew was able to apply his theses to aid in the blood preservation and transportation. He was to collect, test, and transport large quantities of blood plasma for distribution in the United Kingdom. Dr. Drew understood that plasma extraction from blood required both centrifugation and liquid extraction. Each extraction was conducted under controlled conditions to eliminate risk of contamination. Air concealment, ultraviolet light, and the methylate were all used to mitigate the possibility of plasma contamination. Dr. Drew went to New York City as let me just say, do they give him any credit for this? Let me show you something. Blood plasma transfusion package and extractor I'm showing you a picture of. This was invented by Dr. Charles Drew. Some things you got to see. So the next time somebody try to tell a black doctor that he's not qualified to take care of them, well, I don't want him to do anything for me because you're racist and a bigot. Oh, who cares? You don't want a black doctor to save your miserable life? Go on and get yourself a doctor that ain't qualified then. Are people not going to beg to save the life of a racist and a bigot and a segregationist? If you don't want us to help you, then we don't help you. We move right along. And I'm not going to allow Dr. Drew to be erased from Americana history. It's not going to happen. And you didn't read this in the Britannica Encyclopedia, because I've read many of them and they never talked about the contributions that Dr. Charles R. Drew made when it came to blood transfusions and centrifugation. Never talked about it. One of the first things I do when I go to a city or town, you know what I do? I go to their library. Yes, I do. I visit every library in every city and town I go to because I want to see what they have to say about us. Every town has a city, has a library. I'm not interested in going to the nightclub and hanging out and all that kind of crap. I want to know what our people contributed to that particular city, state, or town, because it's important. One time I actually visited a slave plantation down in the deep South in Montpelier, Virginia. I saw the cabins. I walked the grounds. The original slave cabins were still there. And I actually felt the power of my ancestors screaming out for revenge. because of the hell that they had to live and go through. And if you don't think I know what I'm talking about, take a trip down there for yourself. Walk those fields. Look at those shacks and those cabins that they lived in, while the master and the missus and the house slave lived up in a great white house, the great white mansion. The White House was built by slaves. I'm going to talk about that too. They try to say, well, it was built partly by slaves. No, it was built by slaves, period. They're the ones who built it. All right, let me continue to reading this. So Dr. Drew went on to New York City as the medical director of the United States Blood for Britain Project. It was here that Drew helped set the standard for other hospitals donating blood plasmas to Britain by ensuring clean transfusions along with proper aseptic technique to ensure viable plasma dispersals were sent to Britain. The Blood for Britain Project was a project to aid Britain's soldiers and civilians by giving U.S. blood to the United Kingdom. This was in 1940. In 1940, during segregation and Jim Crow, when that racist Winston Churchill, the prime minister, hey, Maria, thank you. Know your history. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I'm going to end this video right here, and I'll continue part 2 in another video. So thank you for watching. Never surrender. Never quit.